I have to film these real quick before I give them away. I made these socks. I started the cuff like kind of a while ago, but I didn't really work on it, and then I ended up making them in like 5 days for yeah, they're for a professor at the university I work for. I'm about to go play my last jury of the season, and I'm just gonna like give them to her afterwards. So there we go. Another pair of Stillwater socks. They're in like this pretty dark green color. That's the color in the sun. Greens, blues. Yeah, pretty happy with them. Welcome to summer. I made myself this tank top. This yarn I got myself for my birthday. It is Art Yarns Merino Cloud. It's number 502. They don't really have color names. Yeah, it's like gorgeous hand painted yarn. It has cashmere in it and it's super soft. This is all I have left. I was determined I didn't want to buy two of them just to make a tank top. So I decided to make myself like a small shirt. The pattern I decided on was Queen's Cami by Tori Yu. It's a good pattern. I did a gauge swatch and I was having issues though after that anyway. Like I was trying to make a size small and I could tell it was just way too big, and it's actually knit from the bottom up, which is making it, I didn't realize that, and that's my bad. But it was really hard for me to like guess the fit of it and see if I was gonna run out of yarn or not. So ignore the border, I did that later. So there's like a folded over hem, and then the first time I tried making it in the other size, I got like about this far, and I had used up like way more than half of my yarn, and I could tell that it was like not necessarily too big for me. Like it would have fit okay, but that I couldn't make it smaller. So I ripped the entire thing out, and just based on like that stitch count and how big it was looking to me, I went with this other stitch count that's actually even smaller than the extra small size, which seems weird, but I think this yarn is just like a little bit thick for a fingering weight. So I did guess right on the stitch count. As you can see, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a little stretched in the bust, so I probably could have added some stitches to it. But like I said at the time, I was terrified of running out of yarn and playing yarn chicken a little bit. So I made the entire tank top. I should have made the straps longer, but by the time I realized that, I didn't want to do them over. And it was too short, like you could see my belly button, and I didn't want it to be like you could see my belly button. Like I've been able to wear this to work with like really high-waisted pants on and a cardigan, and that's what I wanted. So I actually just decided to go through and add like a border. All of this is half double crochet. And what I really like about the border is that the way the yarn was, it was like each little stitch ended up being exactly its own color, which was super fun. So yeah, it was a good pattern. I don't know what my issues were with the gauge, but I'm sure it was my own fault, probably. This is really cute. It's so soft. It's so comfortable. I'm happy enough with the pooling. I mean, the pooling's not terrible. The blue's like nice and spread out. And like, could it have been a little bit longer? Yes, it could have been this amount of yarn, like longer. I guess I could take out the join in the straps and make the straps a little bit longer. And then I don't know where my decreases are, if that would work out or not. So maybe someday I'll make the straps a little bit longer and pull it down a little bit on my body, but I really think it's fine. So that has been this whip. Even like having restarted, I think it only took me like 5 days. And sorry for all the noise that my cat's been making, but it's like almost time for her snack, so she's really bothering me. Do you want to say goodbye? Here, I know. Say hi. Where's my snack? Where's my snack, YouTube? I'm hungry. Say hi. Wow. That That's cool. This is a project I've been planning to do for quite a while now. Right now it's in t-shirt form, but it's going to be a full sweater with like big balloon sleeves. So the sleeves actually have increases in them. So they're really fluffy out at the end. They go like out, and then they have quite a fast taper, and then a lot of ribbing. And depending how much yarn I have left, which hopefully I have a lot, I'm also going to do the turtleneck version. This is fingering weight, but it'll be a nice like fall shirt for me. This pattern is Vair, V-A-I-R. It's originally from like a Shetland yarn book, and the thing about, I got it because like I thought this was very 70s and I was just loving it. The thing about it that I didn't know when I was buying the pattern, because I did not read a lot of the description. This was supposed to be steeked. So this top color work from where the armhole starts, which is all of the color work, I was supposed to have steeks all that way up there, and actually a third even steek in the front, at the front of where you cast off some stitches below the collarbone. And because it was Shetland, if you had used like the recommended yarn that's like completely wool, from what I understand with steeking, it's nice if the fibers are like sticky and not super wash, and if they'll like cling to each other and like felt a little bit, and then you don't have to worry about sewing them down really, really, really well. But I was already making this with a lot of sock yarn scraps. Like literally I knit the entire bottom of it, and then I was looking more at the pattern, and I was like, it was like, set up your steeks. I was like, excuse me, what now? So what I did was I just knit it without steeks. So I separated the front and the back, and I knit the front and I knit the back. I actually did them at the same time. So for these, like for my yellow color, I had all of these just on this size US 3.25 millimeters circular needle. So I just had the front and the back of them both on here. And then for like my contrasting colors, I would just pull one side from the outside of it and one side from the middle. So I would like knit the front and then knit the back with like separate ends of the yarn. And then I just did that all the way up until I was supposed to separate the front, and then I just only did the front. The hardest thing to figure out was there was a moment here with these short rows where the way they wrote the directions for the short row is that you knit across this and then across the steeks, and then you do a wrap and turn, and then you purl all the way back. You know what I mean? Like, the rows were assuming that you were going across the steeks, obviously, because that's what the pattern said to do. And I didn't have any steeks because this is sock yarn, and I also didn't want to waste a lot of my main color, because I want my sleeves to be as long and fluffy as possible, and I want quite a dramatic turtleneck. I was like, I'm not using that many yards up of my main color that's really precious to me in something that's going to be cut and sewn down. And I also didn't want like that much extra fabric around my chest, because I don't know, I feel like it would be kind of uncomfortable. And this is just not what I was wanting for my first steeking experience. I'm planning to do steeking maybe with like a giant coat or something, but I don't know. So basically, I figured it out pretty quickly because there was only like 6 short rows. I figured out how to like do the short rows just on each side. So I did this side, then I did this side, then I left those on scrap yarn, and then I went back around and caught up to where the division had started on the front, which was about here, And then I did all of these back rows like it said. And then I did 3 needle bind off. And then one thing I'm really loving about this pattern is the top of the sleeves, the sleeve cap, this entire thing that I made, it's like probably like 60 or 70 short rows. It's a really, really, really nice shape. I think I'm actually gonna, whoop. Anyway, what I was saying is this is a gorgeous shape for the top of a sleeve. And since this is fingering weight and I really, really like the shape of it on me, I could just use this pattern to do any type of color work. And I could just knit like a straight, like I could just do stockinette on the bottom, and I could have all sorts of like scrap sweaters with different color work on the top, and then like my dream sleeve style. One thing is my gauge is a little bit off. Again, I'm not using Shetland, so I'm just down 1 needle size to size US 3, but my row gauge was pretty low. It was not at all as much as it was supposed to be. So I actually, all of that like rose peach color is rows that I added. So I added like about 16 rows in order to make it long enough. And this pattern was too crap for a lot of people anyway. A lot of people were having to make it longer. So yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this. I think this little hole is really bugging me. I really need to take some white and sew that up really well with some duplicate stitches to fill it in. From the bottom all the way up to here, this took I think like 4 or 5 days to do all the scallops. Chart A, which is these 3 color work things, I did that in 1 day. And then chart B, which is the same colors with the addition of the squares, I did all of that yesterday, and one of the sleeves yesterday. So it's been pretty fast, but I have not been able to read while I make this. I've had to be looking at it the entire time, even with the scallops, because if I wasn't looking at them too closely, I screwed up and like got a stitch off on the scallops and had to rip a lot back. That was happening to me a lot, so I had to sit there and actually count the scallops, which was a little bit, yeah. And one thing I did change in the scallops is there's supposed to be like rows of yarn overs in here that are like lacy, so it's supposed to be more see-through, but if I'm wearing this to work, I didn't want it to be see-through. So I did my yarn overs backwards and then knit still into the front of them in order to like close up those holes a little bit and make it less see-through. I'm happy with the result of that because it's like that fabric suits me, but it also meant when I was purling the other rows, this was just a lot of purling. So when I was purling into the front of the yarn overs, they were a little finicky, and so I had to watch what I was doing the entire time. There was only like a few stockinette sections in here where I got a break, but this was pretty involved. My plan is, the way I normally like to knit sleeves is to do both of them at a time, just alternating rows, like 1 row and then a second row, 1 row and then the second row. And I have like a set of metal and then 5 wood double points. So this is my only extra needle. So I'm going to be using my 1 extra needle to like knit both of the sleeves so that they still have a comfy number of stitches on them. Yep. What do you think? What do you think? You think you don't want to move, huh? Hello and welcome back to our first summer episode. I think I'll do another at the end of August, probably. The theme of this summer is socks and tank tops. So this is the first tank top I made. I already had shown that earlier. It's one of the only things I've filmed so far. And then this is a tank top that I've made from a lot of sock scraps. It's a pretty like straight cut. I ended up doing some decreases around the waist and then increasing to try and get like a bit of a flare, but it's a little puffy here near the bottom where the purple is. And then I did a split hem. This is just a lot of scraps. The ones I liked are the orange ones. And then I used this alpaca yarn that I had made my friend's socks with as kind of a transition to get from the fire colors to the purple. And then I've had these scraps. These are from like a kit that my local yarn store made in 2020 that we would like drive up and pick them up and then make olive pink knit-alongs. So this was my least favorite color from my olive pink knit-along from several years ago. I just don't really like the colors together or like the thickness of them or the way they like rotate. Yeah, I wish it had more. There's no flex. It's just like really, really variegated and not my favorite way. So I did that at the bottom so I wouldn't have to like really look at it as much. And then my two favorite sock scraps that I realized kind of matched are at the top. I actually bought a pattern for like the shaping of the top and the gauge, and I didn't end up entirely using it, but I might use it in the future. It's called the Strata sweater, and I altered it a little bit, so I knit longer on like the shoulder strap. When I picked up to knit the front, I knit longer before I did the increases, and I did an I-cord edging all around the shoulders and the neckline so that I wouldn't have to finish it in any way. I didn't realize how tight I-cords could be, so I could like barely get this over my head. It's rough. Barely. Like, I can't put this on while I have glasses on. There. I guess I can just show it to you. Knits on top of knits over here. Some of the color changes hit a little weird. I wish that I had lowered this and just like a longer. I wish the neckline and the armholes were just a bit lower on my body and I had longer straps. But by the time I realized that that's the way it was, I just didn't want to do it over again. I love these orange colors. I don't remember the name of this one, but if you go back a couple episodes to like January and February, I knit my grandfather's socks in this color, and it's a Wisconsin dyer, Fond du Lac area. And I don't even know if there's any leftovers. She doesn't. I don't think she does like very large batches, so you probably can't get it, to be honest. So that is my top color, is my leftovers from my grandfather's socks, and it's kind of the same on the back. And then the next color is Keenan's Rising from the Ashes. I made one of my church volunteer friends. I love her. Like, she's just a really good friend and a lovely person. I made her a pair of socks with this. She had said she wanted like bright red and yellow socks. She saw me knitting the Stillwater pattern for my aunt, so I made her Stillwater socks, third pair of the year, probably the last ones. We'll see. I don't have any for myself, so I might have to make one for myself. I made her this, I made her those socks in this color, Rising from the Ashes by Keenan hand-dyed yarn. And then this is the leftover alpaca from the socks I made my friend in the last episode. This is some very itchy purple wool. It's by, it's Melody Superwash by Jojo Land. I used up as much of it as I could. It was a contrasting color in my Fiberfest shawl that I made in the spring. So this is the leftovers. This I used up all through 3 of these bottom colors. I had completely used up. You can see the fit of the side of it there, and the way I did the increases like puckers and is a little bit weird, but it really doesn't matter. It's just to wear around the house. It's just to use up scraps. It's just to wear to work with something over it, and it's not very easy to get on or off, so that's fun. Don't use I-cords around your neck unless you're doing like a lot of extra rows, unless you're doing like a deeper neckline than this, because I know I-cord is supposed to be stretchy. This I-cord is not stretchy. It has no give. So that's that. Yeah. I ended up having even more left over of this section, so I'm planning to include it in another pair of socks. I have a whole stack. I think I'm going to show them later. Whole stack of like leftover half and half like sock yarns that I'm going to be working on later in the summer. Alright, so the first, I can't keep track of all these socks that I've made. The first missing pair of socks was this one, and they basically look like this, but in still water sock form, and I have a couple pictures, but I gave them away, so you won't get to see them. Then the next pair of socks that I made that you didn't get to see is in this red color. What I love about this red, and I lost the tag for it unfortunately, is it's a very cool tone red, so there's no like pink in it. It's very deep and kind of like a little bit burgundy-ish, but it's just very pure red. It doesn't lean pink. Yeah, it's very nice. And I used that red to make my grandma a pair of socks. Now those were pretty quick because I had like asked my parents to get her shoe size for me, and she called me and said she's a size 7, which I'm also a size 7. And this is my second grandma I made socks for. My first grandma, her feet are a little bit shorter than mine, so she's the only person whose socks I can't actually try them on while I'm making them to test the fit. So my second grandma, she tells me she's a size 7, and I didn't know if her feet were like wide or if she has like swelling. You know, as people age, different things happen to their bodies, I don't know. So I called her and I was like, can you wrap a tape measure around your foot, like circumference, for me? And she does that, and she tells me, it says 9, like, is that right? And that's like my foot circumference. And I was like, yep, that's good. So apparently I've really inherited my grandmother's feet. Anyway, that grandmother, she just turned 80, and her favorite color for my entire life has always been red. She dyes her hair kind of reddish, and she has a red coat, like bright red, and that's her favorite color. So I made her red socks for her birthday and gave them to her. They were just plain, simple socks. And some of those leftovers I was able to use up for my grandfather on the other side. He turns 80 in July. All 3 of my grandparents were born in the same year. All 4 of them were, but one of them has passed away. So they're all turning 80 this year. So the next one turns 80 on a Saturday in July, and we're having a family reunion on that day. And he's the one I made these bright orange socks for earlier in the year, and he said he loves the fit. So following those instructions, I made him a second pair, and I asked my mom, what colors do you think, like sock colors should I make for your dad next? And she said, make them the Italian flag. The thing is, this looks like Christmas. Like, you look at this, and your brain is like, those are Christmas socks. It's Christmas. But if you look at it, and you're thinking about Italy, or thinking about the Italian flag, Italia, you can see it, right? So there's like, here's an Italian flag, and then I needed some spacing and to keep the red and green away from each other because I didn't want them by each other. So I did a little bit extra white, and then here's another Italian flag. So there you go. All of these yarns are scraps, which is incredible. So we have the red, that's scraps from my grandma. We had the white I had to buy for my abstruse cowl that I made. I just really needed white. And then the green is left over from my friend's mittens. And then a ton of other projects. I've used this green in my Halloween cowl. And then in the abstruse cowl. Like, nothing I do with this green knocks out the amount of it I had. I only had 2 balls. So this dark green yarn is just infinite. I'm still going to be working on it. I made these. He has a size 11 foot, His foot circumference is 12 inches. So to me, I look at these and like, this is like a small Christmas stocking to me. I look at this and I'm like, that's huge. Like, that can't possibly fit. It's too big. But when I measure it and I have my husband try them on for me, it can't be that far off. This has got to be accurate. So yeah, the difference between making socks for a size 12, size 11 foot grandpa and making socks for like a regular little lady, women's socks, like smaller size women's socks, the difference between that is really something. It's really a different experience. And finally, I have started another tank top. Started it, I think, like 4 days ago. This is what we've got so far. I had 2 of these, 100 grams total. It's Classic Elite Summer Socks yarn. It's discontinued. I got the blue-green color. 5504. So it has some green and lime and a cream color and a light green and yellowish and this turquoise. And they repeat kind of randomly. There's like maybe a little bit of a pattern to it, but I don't know. I think it's pretty random. So it's like yellow, dark green, yellow, yellow, blue, and then, yeah, it's not 100% the same the whole time. So I started by knitting the straps. There's no pattern for this. Just 10 stitches ribbed, and then I did the increases, similar to a free tank top pattern that I have. So you do more increases in the front to get your way so that the front's connected faster, and then less frequent increases along the side of the armhole. So I made the entire front and the back, like I made the straps and then the entire front, and then finally I cast on for the back pretty low because I'm either just going to wear this at home, or if I wear it, like if I manage to wear it to work, I'll have a cardigan over it. So in order for it to be long enough, since I only have 100 grams of yarn, I had to make the back pretty low. And then I was pretty sure I made the straps too short because I had started them about here. So today I picked up the straps and knit them about 2.5 inches longer and then sewed them onto the back. I didn't do a very clean job just because I didn't care that much, but I mean, it doesn't look weird. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and they're symmetrical. So it's just entirely 2x2 rib. I've done a lot of decreases on the sides here to make it tight around my waist, so some waist shaping. I did a decrease in the front just because I was feeling like it, and then I've just recently done a decrease in the back also. There it is. So each of the decreases are 4 stitches. The knit 2 purl 2 rib, you just get rid of an entire column of rib so that it will be knit 2 purl 2 again. I really like how the variegation is, it's ribbed, so this will stretch a lot. I really like how random the variegation is and how it's thick on the straps and then a little thicker. And then by the time I'm knitting in the round, it's just like very stripy. So this is my second ball of it, and I'm just gonna knit until it runs out. No pattern, I just made this up based on some other tops that I'd made recently. And that's it. I'm really excited to wear this. It's looking pretty cute now that I have gotten it to be long enough where it makes sense, even though the needles are still in it. So yeah, this has some cotton in it. It's wool and cotton and nylon. Yeah, 40% cotton, 40% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I'm gonna use it up. The colors are fine. I don't know why I bought this. I bought this on clearance a couple years ago from my local yarn store. It was just on clearance, like bag sale, and I got this and all this purple wool. And I regret getting the purple wool, I think. I ended up using it, but it's a little scratchy. This feels good. I like the feel of it. Yeah, it's gonna be cute. I wouldn't normally wear these colors, not even in summer. It's just, I don't know. They're just not the colors I normally wouldn't wear, especially the pale yellow and the lime green. Like, I just wouldn't normally wear lime. It's the blue that saves it. So this will be good. It'll be a cute top, and you will see it first thing right away in my next episode. And then I only have 2 pairs of socks for myself that I made this year, and that's not enough. I don't wear them very much because there's only 2 of them. I don't want them to get worn out and be dirty all the time. So I finally started more socks for myself. I have, I think, like 6 different pairs planned out from scraps. This is the scraps from my other grandma's socks. It's Wednesday, like Winnie the Pooh reference. Wednesday, by Goosey Fibers, which is probably my favorite yarn dyer at the moment. I've bought like a ridiculous amount of stuff from them this year. So that's my main color. It's like green and brown and gray. And then I have this leftover hedgehog fibers. This is also like 4 years old. My yarn shop doesn't carry hedgehog anymore because of the expenses of paying the duties to ship it from Ireland. Is just way too expensive. So yeah, there we go. That's gonna be my heel color and then my toes. And I'm just so far knitting a plain sock. I haven't decided if I'll do some kind of design on the top of the foot, add some purl stitches in there. But yeah, that's about it. I do have my Vair, here we go. Here's one ball of yarn, here's the other, and my extra needle. I've got my Vair sweater shirt thing here. I think the sleeves are a little longer than last I showed them. What I'm doing right now is knitting my, I think it's supposed to be 5.5 inches from the bottom of the arm to the end. And then I'm gonna have to do some increases every now and then and keep track of those. But right now I'm just knitting plain stockinette rounds. I haven't touched this in like a whole week. It smells good. That's nice. So that's where my Vair is at. It's a t-shirt still. It's in t-shirt form and it's gonna be that way for a while yet. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna wear a giant fluffy sleeved turtleneck sweater in July. Although the air conditioning at my work is super cold, so I have been wearing full on like wool pullovers at the office. So you never know. Why don't we go look at all my sock plans, and then that'll be the last thing we do today. Alright, this was our first scrap sock project. Now I've weighed all of these and matched the colors. We're going for a little over 60 grams per pair of socks. I haven't decided how I'm going to arrange these colors since I don't have as much of the main color. I'm going to have to use a lot of this blue. So these 2 are going to be a pair of socks that go together. And then I've got my leftover white from a couple projects, grandpa's socks, and a few other things. And then these are left over from the socks I made my cousin for Christmas. So I'm going to do something with those probably together. I don't love this for myself. So yeah, I think I'm just going to combine it with the white and try and space it out a little bit. I've seen a couple brioche patterns that I might do for that. And then we've got this leftover orange that I showed you already. This gray is the Velveteen Rabbit by Goosey Fibers. And this blue I've had for a really long time. Excuse me. So I think I'm doing like a fire and water and like ashes or like gray, kind of to balance it out. That's the theme for these socks. I think that's going to be pretty cute. This is some of the leftovers. It's in my Vair also. So I used a decent amount of it, probably 20 or 30 grams in the Vair sweater. And these are leftovers from my sister-in-law's camisole, which was in a previous episode. I finally got to give it to her this week. She's back from a big trip abroad. And so I finally gave her belated birthday present. It was done way before her birthday, but she wasn't here. So I have this for some socks. And then this is going to be my heel contrast color. It's like a lilac with some like gold and flecks and stuff in it. I ordered the Dahlia summer collection. It's 12 mini skeins of sock yarn from Goosey Fibers, and they're super cute. So I'm gonna have that one probably be a heel and toe of this sock. Some of the peaches from it, mostly just one peach, but then a few grams of a second peach that looked similar, they made their way into here. And I still have plenty of peach-ish leftovers, and I'm probably going to make a shirt or a tank top with some of those as well. And then these are from the Dahlia's collection. They're the brighter ones. So I've got 60 grams of this total, so I can make myself some plain, like bright pink socks. Might make them like a little stripey, try and blend them together. So we've got like very fuchsia colored one here. Not really a lot of flecks in it, it's just pink. Then this is a lighter pink with orange and white. And this is like a paler orange and pink, but it has some dark flecks in it. So this one's my favorite, so I probably will have this be the cuff so that I can see it above my shoes. And then we'll have the hot pink on my feet, where not everybody has to actually see it. So yeah, this is one of my sock plans. And that was all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of socks planned. I guess that's it. I'm gonna keep ribbing, and I'm gonna work on my socks, and I'm gonna work on my sleeves, and I'll see you next time. I actually have made a lot of plans, and I have a lot of other things on my list. I don't know, maybe we could do like a project planning video for the rest of the year. I was originally gonna start making Christmas stockings in July for our household, but it's July and I'm making tank tops and socks. So I think I'm gonna continue to make tank tops and socks so that I can wear them. That seems like the most prudent, useful thing to do. So we'll see you next time. I hope you're doing well. I hope your streets did not flood like ours did today. I feel like anytime I come on here, there's some kind of disaster. We had a lot of rain and it was flooding on some of our streets, really nearby to where I live, but thankfully it didn't flood into our yard. It just, like, the streets were really overwhelming the storm sewers and they had trouble draining. So happy 4th of July to all those in the US. Happy it was July 4th to everyone else, whatever that means to you, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye!